Hello and welcome. My name is Andrew Cox from Cox Racingroup. We manufacture radiator guards for sport bikes, touring bikes, and adventure touring bikes. We've been doing this since 1998, and we have more national wins than anybody, including national championships. Today we're working on, we've got a new guard set developed. We're very excited about it for the 2015 Ducati Multistrada. This is our Ducati Multistrada 2015 radiator guard set, which is different than the 14 on back. We've redesigned the radiator guard and the oil cooler guard. It comes with those two parts: zip ties, pads, and some decals. These are the only the tools that you need to install it: a 3mm and a 4mm Allen, and some cutters at the end. We're going to use these as well. So this is step one, is to pull off the bezel off the top of the key, and you can put some silicone on these so it goes back in nice and easy. Pull off these 4 bolts, and those panels, these trim panels, slide forward. Here, these are very gentle and easy, but you push them forward nice and easy. Pull the front out and slide the back out. So they hook on these tabs here. 7 here. We've got 3 on this lower balance, and then we've got 4 on the frontal. So we're going to take the lower balance off first. So the other thing we've discovered over the years is which is the how to effectively mount the parts. And with the Ducatis, because they're completely rubber mounted and a soft rubber, we want the radiator guard to float with the radiator. If you mount a radiator guard solidly to the frame, then the radiator, it's heavy and it's floating. That's why they rubber mount them, to be moving. It's designed to be moving because it's full of fluids and it's heavy. Therefore, from an engineering point of view, the reason that they mount radiators in rubber is because they want to isolate the radiator itself from the engine, and it needs to be allowed to float, again, because it's heavy. It's also aluminum and it's soft, so when they rubber mount it, it keeps it from breaking. So with our radiator guards, what we do at Cox Racingroup is we try to mount it directly to the radiator when possible, in the most efficient and effective way there is. Okay, so we got the screws out, and so from here we pull it out nice and just pull it forward and down gently. Okay. Also, these tabs go into these holes, and if you want to lubricate those again to make it easier to reinstall them, that's a nice way to go. Also, to install the oil cooler guard on this bike, we pull this grommet out because it's going to slip over there. So we're going to do the oil cooler first, and so you take it and put these pads on the back. So put these 2 right there. Okay. So here, so you slip this over the lower tab, slide it from the front, put it on the 45, leave enough so that you can pull it to the back for a cleaner installation. Okay, the frame of the oil cooler guard is going to rest on the frame of the oil cooler itself. Then just clip off the extra. And you're good to go. The shear strength on the zip ties is 40 pounds each. So they're holding up about 2.5 to 3 ounces. Then you reinstall the grommet. And that's it for the oil cooler. When you put it in, it's going to press back nice and gently, and it will hold. So there's 2 screws to get the side panel off. One's right up here. They're 3mm. And this will be all laid out in the instruction sheet. There's one more down here. So these just lift right off. Okay, they hang in here and here. So those tabs are the only thing holding on to those two screws. So then you're good to go. To be frank, I know this machine is being very popular, but it's also kind of redefining the genre of the sport touring. To have this much motorcycle, this much horsepower, and chassis and brakes. I don't know that there's many things that compete with it at this level. It's also one of the lightest of its class by a lot. So, same as last side is that you just lift up nice and gently, no binding, comes right off. But I want you to take notice on how exposed this radiator is. There's no rear fender, so that if you're on a gravel road, this thing's going to get pulverized, full of debris and such. With the radiator guard, it will protect it. So, we get the 4 zip ties. Here we go. Bend the zip tie. Okay. And then you can come in from the front. Okay, that's all it takes. Pull that in right here. Okay. I'm going to do the other side. Same approach. A little more crowded over here, but you can do it. And you're going for the upper outside corner. Okay, so it's going underneath the top is a frame. Okay, and then this is a cooling tank. And the little thin ones are the cooling core. Okay, we're not touching the cooling core. Now, run the zip tie through. We're in for a clean installation, what I like to do is run the zip tie clasp in the back. Okay, careful not to go over any hoses. It might be easier just to run the clasp up front, but it just looks better. Don't lock these down yet, so make sure it still has a little bit of float as you're working your way in. Okay, and it's important later. Left upper corner and then the clasp the zip tie. So back on the now on the lower side, we're going in from the back again and bend the zip tie down a little bit, and you feed it into the lower right hand outside corner. Zip tie's trying to find home. Goes through there. Clasp nice and easy. Put the clasp up here into the bottom like that as you begin to draw it in. Now we're going to do the other side. So I just fed it through, it came right on in. Okay. Through the clasp, and then push the clasp up to the back of the radiator. Slowly draw it in. Now what we're looking for here is alignment. In the proper location, it's going to be centered between the tanks. And again, slowly pull up on the bottom one. Go to the other side, slowly pull up on the bottom. This is a better visual than what's going on with the Multistrada, but it is exactly the same. Here we go, so this is the same type of thing here. Pull it in from the back, run it up through the clasp, or through the tab. So the tab's doing two things. It's holding the zip tie, and it's also forming as a stop. And remember, these zip ties have a shear strength of 40 pounds. They're not going anywhere. Also, with our parts, is that these are handcrafted in America, and these holes, each one of these holes, have all been addressed and been deburred. Okay, all the tabs have been deburred, and that's by hand. So it's not solid and it's not going anywhere. Pull these nice and snug, and you can tell it's not going anywhere. It's done. And that's what we do. And we haven't interfered with any cooling base. This is the top one, and you can see that's the bottom one. So the radiator can't see, rocks won't be able to see the radiator, but airflow is optimized. One of the things that comes up is serviceability. You want to be able to pull the radiator guard free and take all the dead stuff off, all the dismembered bugs. So as you get, and they will be in there, right? So now what you do, all you have to do is come here, click the bottom, pull out the zip ties while it's on the bike. Then you can pull it out, brush all the dead stuff out from behind it. Okay, put it back on, drop in 2 more zip ties, and you're good to go. All right, so we're here. Okay, so now we're tightening it up. We've got it sent. We've got the radiator guard centered between the tanks. Okay. Now we're going to tighten up on the zip tie. Okay. Not a bad idea if you've got a set of pliers. Reach in there and just snug up the zip tie itself a little tighter. You can here do a couple of clicks. Make sure it's squared up first. Okay, so that's wrong. See, the tab is over the top of the frame. Okay, and see this one over here, where the tab is in front of, against the frame. So we're going to clip the zip tie and go again. So now we're doing it properly. That's home. Try to get it centered top to bottom as best you can. Pull it tight, cut off the excess. Now the radiator guard itself is part of the radiator. Easy peasy. Okay. This one all in good shape. Again, frame's holding it tight. Got a little crush zone for it. So now you have a helmet for your radiator. And that completes the guard installation. Now, back together we go. If you guys are as anal retentive as we are here at Cox Racing Group, you want to make sure that you're screwing the right hole. So the 4mm bolts, there's 4 of these, they go in the upper panel into the nose. And you can tell that they're the right set because one, they don't have any lead in like these do, okay? And also these are 4mm. So all the 4mm on the upper panels tells you that that's the 4mm go in there. So put those in there. Okay, and then the 3mm are on the side panels and the nose panel. Okay. This is a 4mm heads. Matching the 4mm head here. Okay. These tabs go up underneath the red panel. You get them in there. Voila. There again, you put in the screws in loosely. Make sure they find home. Make sure everybody's going in the proper way. Looking at this motorcycle, you can tell that they've designed it in a way to have the air guided into the radiator, complete with the fender, right, and decided to go through the forks. And we're working with that design by having our screen oriented in the way that we do and have done for years. On the so the final trim panel is this little guy here. So he's got a couple of hooks, 1, 2, and here with 2 bolts on top. So we found it's easier to engage the top lightly, move the front end to position, push backwards. Okay, so we push down and back. Don't. So we've got all the panels installed. We've got all the bolts tight, and the final trim piece is your ignition key bezel. Push that down on top, nice and easy. Again, a little silicone helps. Congratulations on installing your Cox Racing Group radiator guard. And be sure to place your 2 stickers low on the machine, somewhere in this area right here. be good to go. And send us pictures of you and your machine. And thanks again for trusting us to protect you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.